Was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on January 27, 2023. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspaper, posted on public bulletin boards and the Township website.
Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Here.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Here.
Councilman Minikino.
Here.
Vice President Zapcic.
Here.
President DeYoung.
Here.
Thank you.
I'd ask you, first I'd like to invite Cub Scout Pack 38 to come up and lead us in the pledge. Everybody please rise, and followed by a moment of silence after the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay.
Thank you. Your mom got one.
Madam Clerk, please file the reports from the municipal officers.
I will.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the March 14th meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Vice President Zapcic.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite up Councilwoman Melissa Travers and her family so that she can be sworn in. And Mayor Crate, would you do the honors?
Travers, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office according to the best of my ability. I solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and the Constitution bear true faith and allegiance to the state and to the government established in the United States and in the state and with the government and the party of the people also. Yes.
Would you like a mic drop? Put your close back. Thanks.
Very
Welcome, Councilwoman Travers.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to briefly state real quick, thank you to my family for being here. My husband Ryan, Will, and Bruce, without their love and support, I wouldn't be here. And then I just wanted to briefly say thank you to the council, especially Mayor Crate and, I'm sorry, and the president, Heather DeJong, for without you guys welcoming me and sharing your experiences with me, I feel like I can hit the ground running as your new councilwoman. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to invite up Dan Santinello from the Recreation Department, Steve Krakowski. Did I mess that up, Steve? Okay. Public Works Department, and Rob Burns from the Parks Department. They will be giving their budget presentations. Dan, you're up first.
Push this through.
Red button on.
Okay. I'd like to take taking the time to express my gratitude to Mayor Crate, Council President DeJong, Vice President Zapchik, members of the council, and our business administrator. On behalf of the Recreation staff, I am pleased to present our 2023 budget. The Recreation Department mission is to unify the community by providing first-rate programs and facilities that help promote a healthy and enriching lifestyle. Our goal as a staff is to create a small community feel with a large community presence, to elevate the social, cultural, and physical well-being of the citizens of Brick Township and the visitors of our community. The Recreation Department is continuing the expansion of programs for 2023. We will be adding a brand new summer program for our preschool-age children. Preschool camp will be for children's ages 3 and 4 and will take place at the Civic Plaza. Our core preschool program is also getting revamped with the addition of more class time hours. This restructuring will greatly help meet the needs of parents and will also ensure we remain a top preschool choice of our community. Due to the success of our pickleball and wrestling programs, we will continue to expand clinics throughout the year. The Recreation Department is excited to continue to grow its newest sport program, and that's track and field. Currently, Brick Township middle schools do not offer this sport, so we're helping to fill that void. Lastly, we are bringing back the much-loved senior prom this year, a few years of a hiatus. The Recreation Department staff is thrilled to be able to continue offering our community such wonderful programs and events. Last year, Brick Beaches set a record for the third consecutive year in sales. We generated $581,728.71 in beach badge and parking pass sales, which is a 16.4% increase from the previous year of $486,092.25. This year's salary and wage budget for 2023 has a 3.5 increase. Most of this is due to minimum wage increases and the needed to address our lifeguard salaries. Our seasonal staff includes 60 lifeguards, 21 badge checkers. We will be having about 40 of those returning lifeguards who are recognized for being some of the best well-trained lifeguards at the Jersey Shore. Between these guards and badge checkers, we will once again be able to provide our beachgoers with a clean, safe, and well-managed beach. The operating budget is decreasing by $10. Traders Cove Marina and Park had yet another successful season. In 2022, Traders Cove Marina and Park generated $174,604.70 in net revenue for its operations. This does not include our debt service. This summer, we will have 120 boat slips rented. We also have 116 boats for our winter storage this year, which brought in $139,665.40. The boat ramp generated $51,400 in revenue. This year, we will keep progressing and continue to improve the lives of our community. My entire staff has done a fantastic job in keeping our mission statement true to its word. Again, none of this would be possible without their extraordinary work. A special thank you to Mayor Crate, the council, and our business administrator for all your support. We are looking forward to another great year.
Very good. Thank you so much. Does anybody from the public have any questions on recreation? Council, do you have any questions? Seeing none, we are moving on to Public Works.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to present a brief overview of the Department of Public Works, which includes utility crew, solid waste collection and recycling, buildings and grounds, and vehicle maintenance. We'll start with the sanitation department. They make more than 2.7 million stops per year to residents' homes. In 2022, we collected 38,882 tons of solid waste. The salary and wage budget for sanitation decreased 7.6% based on actual salary and wage expenditures last year. And the operating budget increased by $31,000 due to the increase in the cost of recycling dumpsters, uniforms, hand tools, shovels, brooms, etc., an increase in the outside contractor line item, which provides funds for the interlocal agreement with the Ocean County Road Department. The sanitation department is proud to serve our residents and takes great pride in serving Brick Township. Next up is recycling. The township's recycling coordinator, Trish Totaro, spearheads an active and successful recycling program that resulted in 9,647 tons of single-stream recycling in 2022. In addition, 10,200 cubic yards of brush and 5,580 cubic yards of leaves were collected. Trish does an excellent job educating business owners, the general public, and our school students. She has multiple approaches to education, including special events, brochures, and giveaways that outline the recycling's do's and don'ts. Now we will talk about the utility crew. Our utility crew, also known as the road crew, does an outstanding job year-round. Along with all the drainage repairs and replacements, the crew also fills potholes, fixes sinkholes, seals cracks in the streets. The salary and wage budget for the utility crew is included in the sanitation budget. The operating budget for the utility crew decreased 31% this year as we reduced the outside contractor's budget to be more in line with the actual expenditures. The 17 employees on the all-purpose crew do everything. They fill in when sanitation needs drivers, they take care of all the potholes, they operate the street sweeper, jet vacs, and complete necessary drainage projects. They also take care of the township parking lots and our public beaches and immediately respond as needed for brush and tree removal following weather events. Next up is in-house construction. In 2022, in-house construction started the renovation of the new senior/EMS building on Aurora Drive. In 2023, they will finish the senior building and then begin working on the interior of the new special operations buildings in the back of Town Hall. The work of the 11 members in-house construction crew has saved the township hundreds of thousands of dollars compared to the cost of hiring outside contractors. The employees on this crew complete a significant list of projects that would cost more to outsource, and they do a better job. The building and grounds crew ensure the functionality of all township properties, including Town Hall, DPW, Civic Plaza, the senior centers, Havens Farms, and the EMS buildings and more. The buildings and grounds salary and wage budget increased 10% based on the additional overtime needed to complete large-scale projects while still getting the everyday maintenance work needed at township properties. The operating budget increased 1.6%. Vehicle maintenance includes 7 exceptional mechanics, 2 supervisors, and a shopkeeper. They service more than 300 vehicles for the township, including all sanitation vehicles, dump trucks, plows and sanders, police vehicles, ambulances, boats, and also all the heavy equipment. The salary and wage budget for vehicle maintenance decreased 5% based on actual salary and wage expenditures last year, and the operating budget increased 6% based on the actual expenditures from last year for equipment, parts, and repairs. This amount is also subject to fluctuation based on the fleet and the needed repairs. We also have a sign shop. The Township Sign Shop has 2 staff members who manufacture and install hundreds of signs annually. They also mark Township vehicles and are responsible for striping Township facilities as needed. And last but not least, the call center. Our professional and knowledgeable office staff that operate the call center at DPW. The call center consists of 4 exceptional employees who answered 91,123 calls in 2022 from residents and assisted them with their requests. We also use electronic database system that logs bulk, metal, brush, leaves, potholes, sinkholes, and many of the residents' requests. That concludes my report. Again, we would like to thank Mayor Lisa Crate, the business administrator, and the council for their continued support. It matters and it makes a difference.
Thank you very much. Does anybody on council have any questions for Public Works? Anybody from public? Seeing none, moving on to Parks.
Good evening. On behalf of the Parks Department, I would like to take a moment to thank the Mayor, Business Administrator, Council President, Vice President, and Council members for their continued leadership. I am pleased to present the Parks Department budget for 2023. The Parks Department is a division under the Department of Public Works. Our 18 full-time employees, 3 part-time, and additional seasonal employees oversee the township parks, sports fields, grounds, and all township facilities. These employees maintain 20 parks, 10 basketball courts, 8 tennis courts, 5 pickleball courts, 3 bocce courts, 2 skate parks, 3 horseshoe pits, 3 football fields, 15 soccer fields, 2 cornhole game areas, 6 miles of bike trail, and 22 softball and baseball fields. We are also responsible for all the playgrounds and picnic areas, maintenance and repairs. We also maintain the sports fields, including a 40-acre sports complex at Drum Point. This complex is consistently recognized as one of the best in the state. This year, we'll be remodeling the Drum Point Skate Park and converting it into a bike and scooter park. The salary, wage, and budget increased 1%. However, the overall budget increased 22% in the result of the sharp increase of costs of equipment, parts, and repairs, and hazardous tree removal. Also, contract solar field maintenance and lake management increased. We worked hard this year in reducing our overtime. We currently manage over 225 irrigation zones with 2,500 plus sprinkler heads. There is also 147 acres of grass fields maintained by the Parks Department. There are also many intersections, roadsides, detention basins maintained by the Parks Department. In addition, we maintain all township-owned properties such as Town Hall, Civic Center, and the Cultural Arts Center. One of our most time-consuming tasks is our annual fall and spring leaf collection. This process is approximately 10 weeks in the fall, beginning at the end of October until the second week in January. We immediately move into Christmas tree collection for 3 weeks. The spring leaf collection begins in April for approximately 3 weeks. Throughout the year, we pick up brush, leaves, and repair township-issued automated cans and complete tax liens issued by the Township Code Enforcement Department. Outside of our daily maintenance of all above mentioned areas, we also oversee the lake management, fertilization program, solar field maintenance, and synthetic cleaning. This year, we will continue to be responsible for the Windward Beach maintenance. The department continues to take on more responsibilities as we move forward in the renovation of our parks. We look forward to the challenge and will continue to work hard to keep them safe and enjoyable for all of the Brick residents. On behalf of the Parks Department and employees, I would again like to thank Mayor Crate, Business Administrator, and Township Council for all their continued support. Thank you very much.
Very good. Any questions from council? Any from the public? Seeing none. Thank you, gentlemen. Please tell all of your employees thank you for us. We really appreciate all of their hard work. Okay, we are moving on to Resolution 5-1. Ordinance on first reading. There is no public hearing on the first reading.
Calendar year 2023 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. NJSA 40A:4-4514.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zapp, or Council Vice President Zapchik, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Council President. This ordinance allows the township to establish a cap bank for future use. The ordinance allows for increases for budget appropriations and allows the township to bank any unused monetary room. This cap bank ordinance allows the township to increase budget appropriations by 3.5% over the prior year's appropriations and to bank any appropriation room for the next 2 succeeding years. The ordinance is simply precautionary. It is not funded through a tax increase since it is only used in subsequent years should we need to fund a one-time expenditure. The monies available by this cap rate index ordinance may be used to offset costs of any future disasters and the need for any future emergency appropriation. We are not generating cash. We are creating the ability to raise money should we need it. If the funds are not needed in the succeeding 2 years, the bank is simply dissolved. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I please have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council? Close council. Roll call?
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapchik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to Resolution 6-1.
Introduction of 2023 municipal budget.
Mayor Crate?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Council President DeYoung, members of the council, Madam Clerk, Madam Secretary, and to the residents of Brick Township. Tonight, as per New Jersey state law, I present my 2023 municipal budget to the Township Council. While I've only been mayor for just under a month of this great township, I have spent a great deal of time working on this year's budget to ensure that it is a fiscally responsible one that continues to move our township forward. I am confident that the budget I am presenting to you is just that. I consider the municipal budget to be a statement of the values and a blueprint of what this administration wants Brick Township to be and how we get there. Our goal is to craft a budget that reflects the values of this administration and funds services and programs that will make Brick Township a better place to live while adhering to the fiscally conservative principles that have guided us since 2014 when former Mayor Ducey took office. Tonight, I'm proud to present a municipal budget that provides the funds for the municipal services that residents of Brick Township have come to rely on and the ones they deserve. This includes our police department dispatchers and EMTs that work 24 hours, 7 days a week to keep our community safe. This includes senior services that provide our older residents with services and programs that help them and enrich their lives. This includes our recreation department that provides residents with affordable programming, beaches, events such as Brick Farmers Market, Summerfest, Fall Fest, the Traders Cove Marina, and more. This includes the services provided by our Public Works Department, sanitation and recycling, leaf collection, street maintenance, and so much more. Tonight, I am equally proud to say that this year's budget calls for no increase in the local purpose tax rate. As we prepared this year's budget, I felt it was important to recognize the financial hardships that the residents of Brick Township have been dealing with due to the current economic climate and inflationary increases in our nation. I did not want to add to those hardships, so I worked with our financial team to produce a budget that did not increase taxes. The proposed 2023 municipal budget I present to the council tonight totals $115,739,974, an increase roughly of 3.4% over last year's budget. This administration and its financial team have succeeded in keeping spending below the rate of inflation. Over the past 10 years, the municipal budget has grown 17.5%, while inflationary growth was 22%. Contrast that with the previous 10-year period when the municipal budget growth exceeded inflationary growth. From 2004 through 2013, the municipal budget grew 72%. This far outpaced the inflationary growth of 23% over that same period. Let me repeat that. Over the past 10 years, the municipal budget has grown 17.5%, while inflation grew 22%. In the past 10 years prior to that, the budget grew 72%, while inflation growth was 23%. Again, there will be no tax increase in the township's portion of your property taxes this year. This is the portion controlled by this governing body. This does not speak to any increases in the portions of your property taxes controlled by the Brick Township Public Schools, the Ocean County government, or your local fire district. The township portion of your property tax is roughly 30% of your entire bill, and again, that portion will not increase this year. One of the priorities of my predecessor was to reduce the township's outstanding debt. This is something that I intend to do as well. This year, the township's long-term debt stands at $128,750,678. This is $39.6 million less than what was the debt on January 1st, 2014. This equates to $528 of debt eliminated for every resident of Brick Township. This debt reduction is a result of carefully considering what projects are necessary to keep Brick Township safe, clean, and a great place to live, and then funding those projects. Moving forward, I will continue to be conservative and deliberate in choosing which projects the township funds through bonding. I know that the greatest responsibility that elected officials have is to make sure we are being responsible and respectful when spending citizens' hard-earned property tax dollars. It is why this administration works hard to make sure that every single penny we expend is done so with the goal of making Brick Township a better community for all. I love Brick Township. I've lived here for nearly 30 years, and I'm raising my children here, and I'm hoping that they'll raise their children here as well. This budget reflects my hopes as it provides the funds for the services and programs that make Brick Township what I consider to be the best place in New Jersey to live. Our beautiful beaches, the Brick Farmers Market, the senior bus shuttle, the dialysis transportation that will be coming soon, Summerfest, our exceptional police department, and all of our first responders. Everyday services like sanitation and recycling collection, our beautiful parks. This year's budget funds these services while keeping Brick Township on the path that will continue to keep it an affordable place to live and raise a family. I'd like to thank our business administrator and our chief financial officer for their hard work on this budget. Preparing a municipal budget is a process that takes many months, and I thank them for their patience and understanding while meeting with me over this past month so I could review the budget carefully with them and adjust what I felt needed to be adjusted. They have been an integral part of the budget for the past 10 years and have played a large role in righting the financial ship. I look forward to continuing to work with them in the future, and I look forward to continuing going down that path. Again, I am proud to present my 2023 proposed municipal budget to the Township Council for your review and ultimate adoption. I am confident that as you review this budget, you will find it to be conservative, lean, responsible. As always, Ms. Bergen and I are always available to discuss any questions or concerns or suggestions you may have as you review the budget, and I thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with all of you to continue to make Brick Township the best town here in New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Crate. That's certainly very good news for our residents. May I please have a motion and a second for the municipal budget?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapcic.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda, we will be removing 714 of the consent agenda. Madam Clerk?
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Thank you. 7-1.
Authorize certification of compliance with U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. This resolution certifies compliance with the United States Equal Opportunity Commission enforcement guidance on the consideration of arrests and conviction records in employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act 1964. It was a good year. This was a requirement by the Division of Local Government Services as a part of the 2023 municipal budget submission. Thank you.
7-1. Or 2, I'm sorry.
Authorize amendment of appointment of Emergency Management Coordinator and Deputy Coordinators.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes an amendment to the appointment of Emergency Management Coordinator and Deputy Coordinators. Deputy Police Chief Stephen Gerling is the Emergency Management Coordinator, and Joseph Polowitz Jr. and Ron Gaskill Jr. have been designated as Deputy Emergency Management Coordinators. Thank you.
Thank you. 7-3.
Authorize submission of strategic plan for Brick Municipal Alliance Grant 2024.
Council Vice President Zapcic.
Thank you, Council President. I am delighted to present this resolution, which authorizes the submission of a strategic plan for the Brick Municipal Alliance Grant for fiscal year 2024 in the following amounts. Drug Enforcement and Demand Reduction Grant of $21,773. Cash match of $5,443.25, and in-kind match of $16,329.75. The grant submission is due on April 18th, and the fiscal year will start on July 1, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for all of your work on BMAP. We appreciate it. 7-4.
Authorize receipt of bids, collision repairs, and vehicle painting.
Councilwoman Travers.
This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for collision repairs and vehicle painting. This bid is used not only for accidents, but also for reconditioning of bodies from normal wear and tear due to interdepartmental transfers. The township has an approximate expenditure of $31,000 during the current 2-year contract, which will expire on July 14th, 2023, with Mako Collision and Auto Painting Lakewood. Thank you.
Thank you. 7-5.
Authorize receipt of bids, uniforms for various departments.
Councilman Albanese.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for uniforms of various departments. The bid covers purchase and delivery of T-shirts, polo shirts, golf shirts, sweatshirts, and various programs such as recreation basketball leagues, softball leagues, Summerfest, lifeguard, summer camp counselor T-shirts, police camp. This bid is also being used for uniform shirts for Public Works, tax assessor, code enforcement, and others.
Thank you. 7-6.
Authorize receipt of bids, vending machine services.
Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes receipt of bid for vending machine services at Town Hall and the Department of Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you. 7-7.
Authorize receipt of bids, purchase and delivery of 6 police and Scepter utility vehicles.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Thank you, Madam President. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for the purchase and delivery of 6 2022 or newer Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you. 7-8.
Authorize receipt of proposals, registration program for vacant and abandoned properties subject to mortgages in foreclosure.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the receipt of proposals for a town-wide registration program for vacant and abandoned properties subject to mortgages that are in foreclosure. And as of the start of this program, we have generated over $250,000. 7-9.
Authorize termination of contract and solicitation of bids, Brick Beach 1 food concession.
Councilman Albanese.
This resolution authorizes the termination of contract with Jersey Shore Snack Shack for Brick Beach 1 food concession. This termination was requested by current vendor. The solicitation of bids is also part of this resolution as need to secure a vendor for this summer.
Thank you. 710.
Authorize award of contract maintenance and support for New World Public Safety Software Suite.
Councilman Albanese. Councilman Albanese. That's you. Yeah, I'm sorry. Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council
I
President.
saw A.
This resolution authorizes an award
I'm
of contract to Tyler Technologies of Troy, Michigan, in the amount of $218,927.40 to provide maintenance and support services for the New World Public Safety Software Suite that is used by our police department. The service happens to fall under NJSA 40A 11-5 of the Local Public Contracts Law as an approved exemption which allows for the provision or performance of goods or services for the support or maintenance of proprietary computer hardware and software.
Thank you. 711.
Authorize award of contract janitorial services.
Councilwoman Travers.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes an award of contract to One Total Cleaning Services, Plainfield, in the amount of $115,328 per year for a 2-year contract to clean township-owned facilities. Bid notices were provided to 46 prospective bidders from our bidders list and 17 picked up bid packages. 5 bids were received, with One Total Cleaning being the lowest responsible bidder.
Thank you. 712.
Authorize award of contract cell tower expert.
Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the award of contract to FSD Enterprises Red Bank to provide consulting services for the purpose of drafting specifications that shall be used to solicit proposals for the cellular tower lease. In 1998, the township entered into a contract with OmniPoint Communications, later changed to T-Mobile, for the lease of the monopole located here at Town Hall. The terms of the contract was for an initial term of 10 years, with the option of a renewal of contract for 3 consecutive 5-year periods. The contract is expiring in July. FSD Enterprises is a cellular tower consultant who will draft specifications that will be utilized to solicit proposals for the leasing opportunity on the monopole. Thank you.
Thank you. 713.
Authorize lease agreement with Chamber of Commerce.
This resolution authorizes a lease agreement with the Brick Township Chamber of Commerce for space at Civic Plaza. The term of the lease is 5 years with an option to renew for another 5. The rent will increase 5% per year. 715.
Authorize agreement for purchase of property we took that off.
Sorry, we took that off.
Authorize fee modification for preschool program.
Council Vice President Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes a fee modification for the township's preschool program. The program is adapting its schedule to be more in line with the needs of Brick's families, and as a result, it is adjusting the participation fee. Thank you.
Thank you. 716.
Authorize waiving fee for volunteer coaches.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Thank you, Madam President. This resolution authorizes waiving the fee for the child of a volunteer head coach participating in one of the township's recreation programs. Thank you.
Thank you. 717.
Authorize special events permit River Rock and Run Relay event.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes a special events permit for the River Rock and Run event between the hours of 9 a.m. and noon on Saturday, November 4th, starting and ending at the River Rock.
Thank you. 718.
Authorize new plenary retail distribution liquor license, BRX NJ License LLC.
Councilman Albanese.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the new plenary retail distribution liquor license to BRX New Jersey license, Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, for a premise located at 1980 Route 88 Brick.
Thank you. 719.
719A is an inspection fund release for the Briar Mills Village Association in the amount of $628.24. B is a restoration bond release for David S. Russell in the amount of $2,250. C is a bond and inspection fund release for the Shore Acres Clubhouse in the amount of $8,155.07 and a cash bond in the amount of $582.51. 19D is a performance guarantee denial for Nobility Crest New Visions Phase 2 as a result of a recommendation by the Township Engineering Department. E is a performance guarantee denial for Nobility Crest New Visions Phase 3 as the result of a recommendation by the Township Engineering Department. F is a performance guarantee denial for Nobility Crest New Visions Phase 4 as a result of the recommendation by the Township Engineering Department. And G is a performance guarantee denial for Nobility Crest New Visions Phase 5 as a result of the recommendation by the Township Engineering Department.
Thank you. 720, tax collector.
Thank you. 20A is 100% DAV widow of veteran, cancel and refund taxes at Block 1089.83, Lot 21.
Thank you so much. Can I have a motion and second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council on the consent agenda only. Seeing none, open to public for comments on the resolutions only. Yes.
Nan Colley, Team Greenbrier Boulevard. And once again, I find the use of the consent agenda as it is done here in Brick to be extremely deficient in explaining to us, the people. Time's gone by, never thought I would rather see Joe Scarpelli here, but he would have a meeting for a caucus meeting 1 week, discuss it in depth, let all of us get all our questions answered, and then the following week, we would understand why they were voting yay or nay. Let me start, but let me see what my little bit of ability to write notes. Well, let me start with what is not the first on it, but these performance denials. Are you going to tell me that that is all that the not the planning board, that the engineer said is it's denied? Didn't they give any reason why these 4 or 5 items were being denied? We'd like to know that. At least this old lady would like to know it. Oh, you're not going to answer until after I say everything so you can put the music together for the soft shoe routine. Again, if the people here, such as me, were not asking to know what address was referenced by Block 1089.83, Lot 21, that would be fine to use it. But I have consistently asked you to put the address, put either the address and the block and lot, or put address and not block and lot. Nobody knows what it refers to or where. It would also help to know who is the person getting the DAV widow of veterans. It's being canceled. Is that what I'm reading? Now that I'm looking at it? Cancel and refund taxes. Sorry. Now I get the picture. It wasn't very clear. Let me go back up. I remember you mentioning something for a company in Pennsylvania. Why are we doing business for our part, our needs, with a company in Pennsylvania and not buying in brick, as some of you have advocated, which is a really preposterous saying? Why don't we do business in brick? Oh, right, because you've run them all out of town. I can't even go out for a bottle of milk at certain hours that I previously could. Very difficult to go back over it when you don't put enough in here to elaborate on a one sentence. This is not sufficient information for a public meeting and for you You supposedly haven't already discussed this, but I know that's not true. Other people don't. What is a police interceptor utility vehicle? And please repeat, the Brick Beach One food concession, who is that being awarded to?
It is not.
It is not being awarded?
It is a termination of contract and the solicitation of bids, as the title says.
Termination of contract. Buried there in the middle, instead of in space that typeset that we can read it and know and refer back. But of course you should have elaborated on what it was anyway the first time around. What does the FSD stand for? On 7/12.
It's the name of the company.
What does it stand for? Those must stand for something. That's the name, I doubt, is just FSD.
Name of the company.
It's the name of the company, nothing more than that. Okay. Where is it again?
Red Bank.
It's in Red Bank. And you can't tell me any more about FSD than just that that's the name of the company you're going to do business with outside of Brick Township. Yeah, there's another one buried here that that my eyes are not picking up, that I want to know about. I'm not even going to ask about New World Public Safety Software, other than to mention when I see the words New World, I think of a communist company. And that's what I think of. So you can't say anything about it, other than it's not a good way to do business. Oh, somewhere buried in here is something about concession. I'm not sure. Is it right here? What is going to be available to us, the people of the town who pay for this?
That's of Brick Beach 3, the termination of contract and the solicitation of bids.
Oh, it's the termination and the solicitation.
That I've already spoken about, yes.
Oh, that you've already spoken about. Funny, I don't seem to get the full impact of it. I'll have to write the others as an Oprah request, and this is absolutely a slap in the face of the people of Brick to have that go off.
Thank you, Ms.
All
Call.
because of one woman wanting
Ms.
it done.
And just to answer a question, the interceptor utility vehicles are just regular police cars. And the Pennsylvania business that you referenced is actually the address of the landlord of Laurel Square, who owns that liquor license. So it is the company in Pennsylvania that owns Laurel Square.
That paid us.
That paid us for the liquor license.
Thank you.
Anybody else from public? Seeing none, close public. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on, 721, Bill Resolution Computer 2023.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $12,793,219.11.
May I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close council. Open to public on questions on the bills. Seeing none, close public. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Abstain Teamsters and yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes. 722, Bill Resolution Manual 2023.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,828,469.20.
Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close council. Open to public on the bills. Close public. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapcic.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes. Moving on to our ordinances on second reading, 8-1.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 245, Attachment 5, captioned Schedule of Area, Yard, and Building Requirements to establish maximum accessory building heights and setback requirements.
Thank you. Councilman Menachino.
Thank you. The council's Land Use Committee is recommending this ordinance for consideration. Currently, there's no height limit in place for accessory structures such as garage, shed, pole barns, etc. in residential zones. The proposed ordinance limits the height of accessory structures in residential zones, which varies from 18 feet and in smaller zones, and 33 feet in rural residential zones. Thank you.
May I have a motion and a second?
Motion. Second.
You get that?
No.
Who wants first? Who wants the first motion? Open to council on questions, comments. Open to the public on the ordinance, this ordinance, the accessory building height and setback requirements. Yes.
And Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. Unfortunately, the weather was so awful on the 14th of March that I was unable to venture out and attend it, so I didn't see the first reading. And right now, I'm not sure. I heard 18 feet. Is both the building height and the setback 18 feet?
It's accessory height, I believe.
It's, may I?
Yep.
It varies based on the zone.
Yes.
So it goes from a minimal point to a maximum point based on the zone, so it varies based on the zone.
And how many zones do we have?
Probably about half a dozen. Would you
Half a
agree?
dozen?
At
Yeah.
least.
And it varies?
So the bigger property you have, it's okay to go higher on your accessory structure. So if you're
Oh.
back to back with somebody, they're not looking at a giant wall of a shed. It has to be a little bit smaller because the size of your property is smaller.
So therefore, there must be a minimum and a maximum, and what is that?
I think-
18 being the maximum?
18 to 33?
Yeah, I think Councilman Menachino mentioned it.
I didn't hear him say it. It's hard to get everything in. 18 to 33
Correct.
is the height. What about setback?
It just varies. You'd have to really look up the zoning
Oh,
ordinance.
you have to look it up, Dan.
Or get
That's
any
right.
assistance from any employee in the land use department, be happy to help.
Not always easy to do. I expect to get all of that at a meeting here. You should be having two meetings, a caucus and a public, not a combined one because you're not doing that. So it varies. And you're just addressing that at this time, is that correct?
This ordinance? Yes.
Ordinance 1. Okay, I'll come back when I hear the rest.
Anybody else from public? Seeing none, close public roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapcic.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
8-2.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code of the Township of Brick in Chapter 324, peddling and soliciting.
Councilman Menachino.
Thank you. The Township's Council Land Use and Business and Finance Committees are recommending amending to this ordinance to allow for 10 Class 2 food trucks in the township. Class 2 licenses are food trucks that's to stay put in one location. The number of food trucks at this category are previously limited to 7. These food trucks can only be parked where they have owner's permission and required approval by traffic safety, code enforcement, and zoning. There are 3 trucks on the waiting list at this time. However, if an inquiry comes from a veteran who must produce a county-issued Veterans ID card, he or she would be granted automatic approval. None of these trucks have approval to be on Township property because they have agreements with an ice cream vendor and other vendors on Township events.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close council, open to public on the peddling and solicitation ordinance. Yes.
And Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. There are how many that have approval?
Seven.
And their names are?
You would have to open it from the clerk.
Oh, Oprah Rick did not at a public meeting have...
I do not have the names of all 7 food trucks, no.
Why not? You're supposed to.
I don't have my
You know
crystal
what
ball.
your job is as a council person, period, not just president. How many of you remember the brouhaha that happened in the early 20s, the early part of this century, about the food truck? Frank's, I believe it was. He was a disabled American war hero, and he had permission to park in what was then known as the General Store. Now it's P.J. Sweeney's property, and there was an awful, awful, awful resistance by the powers that be in this town to allow him to do that. All kinds of nonsense. It was just to Frankfurt a truck, and I, for one, liked to take advantage. Just before I would go into the General Store, which of course is no longer there for me to shop at, but I used to shop or window shop sometimes. And they made it so impossible for him. I think maybe that led to the General Store closing up eventually. And you don't give any information, you don't know anything, and you make decisions without getting the pulse of the people.
We do know that there are 3 food trucks on the wait list, hence why we are expanding the list. Resolution 8-3.
Well, I'm going to take a roll on.
I'm
8-2.
sorry, roll
That's
call.
okay.
Anybody else from public? No? Thank you, roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
I vote yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes. 8-3.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acceptance of the donation of property known as Block 673, Lot 44, for no consideration.
Council Vice President Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. The Township Council's Land Use Committee is recommending accepting the donation of this property. The owners of Block 673, Lot 44, reached out to the Township to donate the parcel. It is marshland and cannot be built on. The property has the added benefit of a prime location for the reuse of dredge materials. Property is located behind Cedar Bridge Manor. It is 3.2 acres, but a third of it is in the water. It will also add acreage to our open space preservation areas that enhance our CRS points. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I please have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Open to council. Close council. Open to public on this resolution. Yes. Or ordinance, I'm sorry.
Nan Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard, and I do want to commend Councilwoman Zapsik for a more complete description of what is included in this. I think you said it was behind Cedar something Manor,
Cedar Bridge Manor.
and that is located on Cedar Bridge.
As you go heading towards Manilokin Road, it's to the left. It's across from where the Sweet Green Market, where that little plaza is. So you'd have to make a left and you go in through there.
Thank you very much, because it's the most definitive explanation I've heard since about 2013.
Anybody else from public? Close public, roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Travers.
Yes.
Vice President Zapcic.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are now open to public comment.
Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B.
First up for public comment.
John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. I'm reading my letter. Dear Mayor Crate and to the council. Let me start by saying out, I thought at the last meeting some members of the council may have misunderstood the questions and comments of some of the public comments that were made. I did not take the question that they rendered by a few residents as though we were saying Bold did not do enough to support our schools, and maybe I was wrong in listening to the comments. It seemed more than that. They were frustrated with the actions of the state government and agencies that tried to hide facts and methods from the public. If the state had only believed that they were correct in their reasoning, they would have been more open in releasing the S2 format with that reasoning. I do believe that the governor of the state cares very little for the residents of Brick, and he even showed that in his speech. When he swore in Mayor Ducey as mayor 9 years ago, he complained in a 5-minute speech that the mayor got 60% of the vote in Brick, and he, the governor, only got 30%. He and his associates have done so little to help the residents of the Shore community that it becomes obvious that he does what he needs in order to assist the Democratic voting community in North Jersey. I believe many of our residents are showing a frustration with state's big government, and many believe that you don't have to be nice in urging and demanding something when we all know nothing good has ever been done for many years, and nothing good probably will be done in the next few years. The problem is that our representatives cannot get things changed on a state level, even being in the same political party, so party affiliation should not even be considered. I know some council members believe that they were being attacked, but one is in a defensive mood. Comments that are strong can easily be misinterpreted. I, for one, have no faith in the state government doing the right thing and feel the council needs to be very nonpartisan enough to understand that the fight for the people in every way they can. Unfortunately, I believe our local representatives have no power on a state basis. And although I hope someday that will change, someday, hopefully, I want the council to represent each and every one of us in all matters that exist in the town, the county, and the whole Shore area. In that same vein, I know that the administration has spent many hours, Joanne in particular, trying to persuade New Jersey Turnpike Authority commissioners to correct the ills they have caused the residents of the areas by expanding the Garden State Parkway nearly 11 years ago. It's possible that they actually expanded it for legitimate reasons, but over time they have been told numerous times how they are harming the citizens who live near the expansion. They find excuses and justifications for their acknowledged decision-making. At the time, the lobbyists may have a strong argument for the actions, but had done so without considering the impact on the residents of the area impacted. The New Jersey Turnpike Authority Commissioners are harming our children and killing our seniors and making a completely healthy life in Brick and Ocean County impossible. I know that the administration has tried to help, but like I said, the Trenton-based government and the agencies do not care for the Shore area. Politicians of Trenton have gotten votes from these area citizens, so they can't get votes, so they punish our citizens with sickening reductions in school aid and while funneling the Shore residents' tax payments to their constituents in the 6 or 7 largest cities in the state. Other people in the Shore area are being heard as well as in Brick areas like Evergreen Woods, Greenbrier, Brick High, Birchwood, Cherrywood, Primrose, and many other areas facing the health and the symptoms associated with that pollution of the Garden State Parkway. The New Jersey Turnpike Authority, because of their unfortunate expansion of the Garden State Parkway, are causing increased hospital admissions, more emergency room visits, increased mortality, and in fact, killing our seniors. The Garden State Parkway pollution exacerbated by the New Jersey Turnpike commissioners cause chronic and respiratory tract infections like pneumonia and COPD. Effective prevention is necessary to keep the elderly population in good health for as long as possible. Those who care for the sake of the children know that 14-foot walls, increased brush and things of that nature need to be done. If anybody wants a good, healthy life in Brick, they need to do these things before it is too late. You're killing our children and killing our children as they're coming out of the wombs of their parents. Thanks for your time.
Anybody else?
Good evening. I'm Michelle Spector from Evergreen Woods. I haven't been here for a while, but tonight I'm making a public announcement. We have set up a GoFundMe page to raise funds for lawyer to represent the communities in Brick that have been adversely affected from the Garden State Parkway widening. If you go to the Brick Patch article printed on March 22nd, entitled Neighborhood Rattled by Parkway Turns to Brick for Help by Karen Wall. Thank you, Karen, although she's not here tonight. You'll find the link that will take you directly to our fundraiser at the end of the article. As you remember that since 2010 we have fought tooth and nail for a sound barrier, but because the Turnpike Authority used extremely narrow criteria to exclude every community except Cherrywood Farms, we've had to suffer with the noise. According to a sound study conducted by Brick in 2019, our highest decibel reading reached 82 decibels. According to the Science of Noise, 70 decibels over a period of time is enough to cause hearing loss. And my hearing loss can be attributed to, from 2010, my ENT said that it's from the highway. I started having problems soon after, the noise started, and every year it's gotten progressively worse. So that's just a FYI. Sorry. Okay. Our quality of life has diminished drastically. Children and families are still suffering daily. We're suffering from sleep deprivation from the intense noise from 24/7 traffic. This is a major injustice perpetrated by the ineptitude and sleight of hand from a public agency, you know who they are, who pretends to care about folks living along its borders. For the record, people were told before they bought here that the highway would never move closer to their homes. When we moved in, there was a wide natural barrier encasing our neighborhoods. We were not subjected to the intense noise we experience now after the widening. It's a fact in New Jersey, the Soprano state, that only the wealthier communities get sound walls. Either they pay for it themselves or get a lawyer to represent them. We decided that since nothing is getting done to remedy this at this point, that we needed to raise the money for a lawyer ourselves. The New Jersey Turnpike Authority is a rogue agency that does what it wants, getting away with hurting families and could care less. When confronted, they do the absolute minimum to shut people up and then move on, leaving destruction in their wake. We are appealing to those communities whose families are suffering with the intense noise to join us and anyone else that cares to help. President Biden's infrastructure package does not include sound walls, unfortunately. So we've sent a letter to Senator Hulsefeld asking for his assistance to get an earmark for the affected communities in Brick. We would appreciate you calling his office and letting him know you support us in this. And again, anybody, you'll take any donations at all. You can do it anonymously, anything minimal or whatever. You can just go to the GoFundMe site and just put in sound wall 2 words. Thank you. I donate my time back to the record.
Thank you. Anybody else from public? Yes.
Hi, my name's Gary Penzel. I'm at 45 Toronto Drive in Brick, New Jersey.
I'm Antonio Almeida, 74 Rochester Drive.
Hi, and I'd first like to thank Andrea Zapsik for meeting with us. She came out and met with our executive board. We live in Seawood Harbor, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. It's at the end of Drum Point, and it's where we have a road that winds through the Edwin Forsyth Nature Preserve, and it frequently gets flooded. This particular street has 4 different names on a mile-long street, and sometimes when we call the town, nobody knows where we are because there's 4 different names, and every time you make a turn, there's a different name. But we've had problems with this area, with this street, and one of the issues we have is that we understand that our community is towards the bottom of the list in terms of possibility for funding from Brick Township. And we just want to make sure that the council understands the unique circumstances that we have as a community. We have the Barnegat Bay basically surrounds our community, and because we have the federal preserve, we cannot put any barriers up. And we get massive flooding. We have 150 families. And in February, we had 2 days where we had, within a week of each other, massive flooding where people couldn't get in or out of the community. We had, and thank God for the police, they have an emergency vehicle that were taking people in and out. But the last incident we had in February, we had our school buses left in the morning, and they took all our children to school, and then we got massive flooding, and people weren't able to get out of the community, weren't able to get in the community. By the time the buses came back at 3 o'clock, the water was 16, 17 inches high, and everybody was really frightened. Some people went out to try to get their kids. They got stuck on the side of the road. It's a really recurring problem, and being that we have 150 families, we would like to see whether or not it's possible to get maybe a higher priority in terms of possible funding to have our road raised. It's just too low, and it's a really, really serious situation for us.
I guess Gary covered it well. The other thing I would add is that when I first moved into the community, I was a little younger, quite a bit younger, and I was able to work from home. So being healthy, being younger, being able to work from home, the issue didn't quite impact me. I kind of took it in stride. It was one of the drawbacks of the community, but given all the positive aspects of it, it was well worth the price. As I get a little older, though, you start having health problems. Sometimes you make appointments with a specialist, and you wait maybe a month or 2, and then all of a sudden you're going to get out. You're trying to get to your doctor. You can't. That's just my personal thing. I can imagine 150 families. Each one is going to have their own little crisis. I happened to have one day that I was leaving for a trip to Europe. My wife and I got in our small car, a little Mini. We get to the road, and there's just a river in front of us. It just so happens that the airfare that we had was non-refundable. Had I not made it, pretty much would have canceled that trip. If we had to make the trip and get there to see family or take care of issues that where we live in Europe, it pretty much would have been buying an emergency ticket. So it would have been just that one day of flooding would have cost us thousands of dollars just personally, just for our situation, for one incident. So as I get a little older, this becomes more and more of a serious issue. Now I could imagine a situation where somebody's life is in danger. Just think about any major event in your life and think about the fact that you're stuck at home and you can't get out. And you can't get to a hospital, can't get to a doctor, can't get to whatever. So this is more than just an inconvenience at this point. It's getting to be serious, and really what we're talking about is a few inches of dirt, rocks, dirt, tar. So I know that, my God, it's expensive to put tar on the road, my God, but let's look at the size of this town, this city. We don't have to even tackle the entire road. We could tackle maybe the first 100 feet that's more critical so we can get in and out. I could imagine for a long time I've been part of the Seawood Harbor Homeowners Association, and I kept thinking, okay, one of these days somebody's going to die, a kid is going to die, and then this issue is going to hit the papers, and then somebody's actually going to figure out that this is a problem. We had 2 of us, so we'll take twice the time. So, I encourage you to really think about beyond budgets think about inconveniences, and accept that we're kind of flying without a net. Anything could happen. Any emergency could happen. Out of 150 families, multiply that times 2 people, that's 300 people. Add in the kids, another 400 people, or maybe a total of 400 people. Somebody's going to get sick, somebody's going to die, somebody's going to have a serious problem. And I'm not making this up. This is just...
Can't get through when you have 16 inches of water.
Yeah, imagine a fire in the community. That little truck that you guys sometimes have to shuttle people back and forth is not going to handle a fire. And by the way, that shuttle, a few times already when we needed it, hasn't been used for so long, it wouldn't start, it wouldn't run. So it's we appreciate the effort, but this is really not a serious solution. We really need to be much more wholesome solution to our problem. We can't keep taking a chance and risking our lives because people don't want to spend some money on lifting the road a few inches.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from public? Yes.
Nan Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard, and since this administration and board does not believe in free speech, this will be my last time tonight at the speaker. And they say there are no coincidences in life, and I don't prepare any speech for when I come. There are some things that are, as that woman that I have no respect for, I think her initials are something like KJP, says top of mind, whatever that means. And I do have some things. One of the things I had that I've been mulling over now for a couple of months is I would like this town to start a movement that once you are elected and you take your oath of office, which does not require you to provide any loyalty to a political party, only to the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the town of Brick, and I believe Ocean County is thrown in there somewhere. And I would like to see that minute that you get sworn in, from that moment on, there are no designations of an R or a D or a donkey. Oh yeah, you know what we Irish call the donkey, or a bloated elephant. It's time to get rid of that and be one, united, not untied, not just from the other people in Brick, but the other states. That's one thing that was said immediately previous. The other is I have begged you for years, have a town hall meeting, begged the previous mayor. I'm begging Mayor Crate, hold a town hall meeting in which we, the people, control what it is we want to hear from you and want you to discuss, and invite people that can help with the transportation problems in this town, which are absolutely awful, with going shopping, with doing anything. By the way, I moved here. I bought the house, my late husband and I, whom I call St. Patrick. Oh yes, this is my faith, my heritage, and St. Patrick was my husband. He's gone 11 years now, and it's been a rough road without him. He would never speak, except when he got extremely angry at how I got treated by many people, and publicly treated. So now I am saying, please, please, do the right thing. Have a town hall meeting. You have at least 2 weeks in the month that you could have 2 of them and have different subjects, because nobody has been responsive. Not Mayor Ducey. The last one who was Steve Acropolis. And yes, I have mixed feelings about him. But the lady that sits as your town clerk that has the biggest weight of handling matters here in town, she was walked over, and the one prior to her, Ginny Lampman, who was amply qualified, was walked over and put somebody that was brand new to be the town clerk. He was there when I came, George Savasco. He was good about looking things up, but he was not a Bricktown person, and I think that the people we elect should be people from the town, people that know the town and have educated themselves as I've educated myself. I thought it was going to be a wonderful little town, as the area in Brooklyn that isn't a town. Brooklyn is, what, about 4 times the size of this? It was billed as the 4th largest city in the United States at one time as you went over the bridge to it. I grew up there. My parents grew up there. Basically, we grew up in an area now called Prospect Lefferts Gardens, right near Prospect Park, near the stadium the Dodgers played in during the time the Dodgers played. And there have been a couple of films on NPR showing you the absolutely magnificent Prospect Park that we have. Wynwood Park is a dot on a map compared to Prospect Park. You should look at it and find out. But most of all, you should find out what is it we, the people who are supposed to be self-governing, want. You're not doing our will.
Anyone else from public? Yes.
Larry Reed, 475 Normandy Drive. First of all, I want to congratulate Councilwoman Travers for volunteering to do this important work. As you all know, it takes a lot of time and there's a lot of numbers and projects and thoughts and problems in the town. So thank you for taking on that responsibility. I'm here tonight to advocate for the Veterans Property Tax Deduction. I was here last year, and it's a continuing effort. I have a lot of papers that I'm going to go over, and there's a lot of numbers, and it's a continuing issue about the Property Tax Relief Fund that relates to flooding roads, it relates to schools, and the veterans. So what I did, I made a lot of copies for all the council people and for our administrators. I'd like to give it to the clerk.
Clerk, yes, thank you.
So what's the importance of this meeting today? Well, first of all, tomorrow is the National Vietnam War Veterans Day. It's dedicated to those heroes. As you know, during that conflict, political controversy and disagreement were sadly misdirected towards those who had admirably served our nation. When these brave warriors returned from Vietnam, they received neither a hero's welcome nor appreciation for their service that they deserved, but instead got apathy, anger, and hate. Disappointingly, many were left to struggle along with self-doubt and shame and the memories of those left behind. So a lot of my contemporaries served in Vietnam, didn't come back, etc., but I did hear stories about coming back to California from Vietnam and the disrespect they got when they got off the plane to go through the airport. So, all veterans serve the Commander-in-Chief to defend us. And so I'm advocating that they should get their share of the property tax relief funds that we set aside for them. They've been shortchanged. One of the articles that I made a copy of for you here is it goes back to the history of the Property Tax Relief Fund. Way back in 1947, they started it. They amended the Constitution. They put a deduction of $500 from your assessment, your property assessment. And then that moved forward in 1963. They made it a flat $50 property tax deduction. So that property tax deduction in 1963 didn't get increased until 2003. 2003 when they raised it to $250. It's been at $250 ever since then. If you use the inflation-adjusted dollars, the value of $50 in 1963 would be $493 this year. So we've had a number of bills that have been passed since this article was written that I gave you a copy of in 2012. And basically, in 2011, there was a bill, ACR 26, introduced to the state legislature to put on the ballot the question of increasing the veterans' property tax deduction to $500 annually. That legislation, 9 years later, and this article is from 2020, I'm sorry, it still hasn't passed. So what happens is, and this is a nonpartisan issue, is that they won't bring the bill up for a vote. So they know nobody will vote against increasing the property tax deduction for the veterans. So they don't bring it up for a vote. Who doesn't bring it up for the vote? Well, this is not a nonpartisan issue. The legislative leaders, the Senate president and the Assembly president, they don't bring it up for a vote. So I'm advocating last year for a resolution saying that they should bring it up for a vote. So, and we got the county to sign on to that resolution, and Brick also signed on to a resolution to that effect. So how much money are we talking about? I'm going to run out of time. Can I get an extension of time? A couple minutes, thank you. How much are we talking about? Okay. And there's a couple important documents.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
You do know, I just looked it up real quick. There's SCR 128, constitutional amendment to increase the veteran deduction from $250 to $1,250. That's currently in the Senate, sponsored by Senator Holzapfel.
And that's too much. There's also legislation to raise it to $500.
It's there, but I would definitely advocate to Senator Holzapfel to see if we can get that moving. The chair of the Veterans Committee in the Senate is Joseph Cryan, and vice chair is Senator Nelsa Cruz Perez. Those are the two that would put it on the agenda. So, I mean, ask Senator Holzapfel if we can get that heard.
Our
and then
local
get it passed.
representatives are fully behind either raising it to $500 or to $1,200.
Yep.
So it's not an issue with our local representatives.
Yes. So I would ask Senator Holzapfel to reach out to his friends and get it on the
As
committee.
you know, this is a Republican county.
Okay.
So we're not getting those dollars. So let me go over where those dollars would come from, if I could. So there's two important documents that are sources for all this information. One is called the Appropriations Handbook. This is the last year budget, 2023. It's about 310 pages long. This is the short version of the governor's budget. It's a budget in brief. If you go online, and it is available online, it's over 500 pages. So the issue is trying to find where the dollars go. So there's 5 funds in New Jersey, just 5 that they put revenues into. The main one is the general fund. The second biggest fund is called the Property Tax Relief Fund. And it's $20 billion in the current budget. 20 billion with a B. Okay? That was created in 1967 when they passed the state income tax. And those funds are, and 0.5% of the sales tax are all supposed to go to property tax relief in New Jersey. Okay? So when you go through the numbers, the veterans' property tax deduction is actually decreased in dollar amounts over the last 3 years. Why? Because the veterans are dying. Okay? So in 2021, it was budgeted for $51 million. And I included this in the documents. Last year, it was budgeted at $40 million. This year, your governor's budget has lowered it to $35 million. So as people die, they're spending less and less on the property tax deduction. Why can't they raise it? It's embarrassing. It's humiliating that they have so little concern for the veterans especially when this fund, the Property Tax Relief Fund, has gone from 15 billion to 17 billion to 20 billion, and each month it goes up and up. So it keeps increasing, and the veterans are not getting their share of this, nor are the towns. So,
Mr. Reed?
yeah.
I will call Senator Holzapfel. I will talk to him about advocating for this, and I will call Senator Cryan, who I know, and advocate for this.
Good, but I would like to have a resolution from the town. If
We
you
will
don't
look
mind.
into that for the next council meeting, absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else from public? Seeing none, close public. Mrs. Bird.
I have nothing, thank you.
Mayor Crete. I know, those chairs are terrible.
Thank you. So we've had a busy couple of last couple of weeks. I did want to point out, I know Mr. Sluka spoke about the S2 funding issues to a degree, and I did want to let everyone know that on March 20th, I did get to speak in front of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee regarding the S2 crisis. As a mayor of this town and as an educator and a parent, I have seen firsthand the calamity that has been brought about because of S2 in our school districts, and I thought it was important, whether it makes a difference or not. I always think that you still need to have your voice heard, and I think I vociferously spoke in favor of the funding that we're looking to get. There is a $100 million funding package out there that I know everyone's heard about. We just need them to pass the budget so that we can actually get those funds. But it doesn't fix the problem, and it kind of puts a Band-Aid on it. It's a one-year problem. It's a one-year solution that really isn't going to fix the issue that is ultimately the school funding formula that we're hoping to see some changes to. We need to have that revisited so that we can make sure that all of our schools are fully funded. And I understand, having been in education for as long as I've been in education, that there were districts that were suffering under the old funding formula. I fully understand that, and I am happy that those districts are now being correctly funded, but not at the expense of other districts. So we need to really look at that funding formula, and I hope that the Education Committee and the governor considers doing that before we head into our next school year. So I did want to point out that we did do that, and I was proud to do that as the mayor of Brick. I got to attend my very first mayor's mock trial last week as well. It was so much fun. Brick Township versus Brick Memorial, and I will announce, if you haven't heard, that for the first time in about 4 years, Brick Township took the Mayor's Cup for this mock trial. They were very excited. It was really a fabulous case that was tried, and honestly, I was so happy. I'd never been to one before, so I was thinking, how do we judge? I don't even understand how this works, but I was very happy. I was not the one that had to do that, but it was a lot of fun to watch, and it was really great to see our students that I've spent time with, a lot of them through the student advisory group that we work with at both high schools. It was a lot of fun to see them out doing the mock trial, and it was exciting to see the entire case. So if you have never gone before, I highly recommend joining us next year when we do it all over again. There was a ribbon cutting on Friday of last week for Innovate Salon Academy, and that is in the where the Paul Mitchell used to be, over in the Cole Shopping Center. We got to go in, we took a tour. There are about 30 seats that will eventually house students who are there to for cosmetology, for barbering, for hair cutting, they have the facials are available now. There's a nice quiet room that you can go into for a facial. I think those are available now, and within the next month, you should be able to make an appointment for a haircut, which I'm very much looking forward to doing. So I just, it was a really cool the way they had it set up inside, so I would highly recommend checking that out. One thing that I want to announce is we are starting a new program. It's called, I know it's a little corny, but it's called Crate Conversations. And I'm looking forward to talking with different people around town who do different things. We have a few guests lined up for our first couple of shows, and they're short because I know attention spans, nobody has time to sit down for a half hour and watch something, but I know 10 to 15 minute segments are just about the right amount of time for people to see what's really going on in our town and some people that you may want to know about. So our first conversation will be taped this week. We will be meeting with Brick Garden Club, and we'll be talking about spring planting and some of the exciting events that they have going on around town. And then we'll also be meeting with some other people that I think you'll find interesting, but I'll let you know as those come up. That will not air this week, to be clear. We are filming it this week, and then we will go through the editing process, and that will be out on the Township website and YouTube and I guess BTV as well, for the community to see. So, and if you have ideas for something that you'd like to see on Crate Conversations, you can email me at mayor@bricktownship.net for some ideas that you may have. I would love to hear them. The Brick Hero Awards are this Friday, March 31st at 7 p.m. at Brick Township High School. We hope that you can come out and join us to celebrate our community and our everyday heroes who've done some fabulous things around town. I'm very much looking forward to that, and I hope we have a good crowd for that. So please come out for that. And thank you to Scout Pack 38. I got to spend about 45 minutes with them tonight and their families. It was a lot of fun. You may have noticed there were a lot of them. And so it was kind of fun having them in my office and talking about parks around town and things that they think we should do around town. Some future mayors joined us and talked about what they would do if they were mayors. So it was a lot of fun having them, and I was happy they were here to do the pledge, and they did a really nice job. So thanks to them. And finally, I want to take a moment to welcome Melissa Travers to our team. She is a mother and a nurse. She is raising 2 boys here. And from the time that we have been able to spend together so far, I think that she is the perfect fit for our team and our community as we move forward here in Brick. She is kind and caring and thoughtful, and someone who genuinely thinks about what is best for this town. She's raising her children here, and I really look forward to working with her and the council as we move through the rest of 2023. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Starkey.
Yes, I would also like to welcome Councilwoman Travers. Welcome aboard. It's good to have you. Council President, if I may, the last member of the public that got to speak, Mr. Reed, asked for support for New Jersey veterans property tax deduction. I just want to remind the public that the council is a step ahead of them. You adopted a resolution that was unanimously adopted in just a few months ago to support an increase in that tax deduction from $250 to whatever amount the legislature would set, and that was unanimously approved by the council. So I just wanted to remind him that it's good to see him come here, but we're a step ahead. That's all I had tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Starkey. Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary. Councilman Albany.
I want to welcome Melissa Travers to our team. Look forward to working with you.
Councilwoman Pontarera.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to also welcome Ms. Travers. In addition to being kind and thoughtful, though, I think it's also important to note that with her background in nursing, she is highly intelligent and very astute and able to pick up on details that most people would probably miss. So those are the traits I'm most anxious about her implementing for our benefit. Other than that, I want to acknowledge the fabulous presentations tonight. They were all full of detail and done in a way that shows that each expenditure was well-reasoned and thought about, not just put on a piece of paper and forgotten about. Last, I want to acknowledge the blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into this budget for this year. Apart from being a councilwoman, as a parent, as a resident, to have one piece of my tax bill that's not going to go up while it seems that every other item in the world, from food to cars and everything else, has gone up. So I so much appreciate all the hard work and dedication of Mrs. Bergen, of Mayor Crate, of the entire Business and Finance Committee, and all of the heads of departments who have made cut after painstaking cut to bring this budget down so that residents can afford to live. Thank you.
Councilman Ambrosino.
I'd actually like to start by thanking our council president for remembering that while there are 3 equally handsome Italian men up here, we do all have different names. I'd actually like to thank Cub Scout Pack 38 for leading us in the salute tonight. I was actually a member of Cub Scout Pack 38 about 10 years ago. And congratulate Brick Township for winning the mock trial. I was an attendee at Brick Township High School about 5 years ago.
You.
And actually, I'm also very surprised to hear that there was a suggestion tonight that the township was doing business with a communist private for-profit company. But on a very serious note, on behalf of the town council, and on behalf of myself and my wife, as parents, and on behalf of my 3 children, I'd sincerely like to thank Mayor Crate for speaking before the Senate Budget and Appropriations meeting last week. I know that we have a mayor that, as a fellow parent with her children in brick schools, will always fight on our behalf. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. I'm not going to echo everything. You know, we can sit here and say it over and over again. We all know it. We all feel welcome, Ms. Travers. Thanks to the presentations for Dan, Steve, and Rob. We appreciate that. They did a lot of work. Thank you, Mayor Crate, and our business administrator, and everybody involved in all that. We're going to move forward. We're good. We got this. Let's just keep going forward. Thank you.
Councilwoman Travers.
Thank you. I just figured I would use this opportunity to give you a little background on me. So again, I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 12 years, and I work at Jersey Shore University Medical Center. And I'm also currently studying for my master's in nursing, and this coming October, I'll have my degree with that and be licensed as a family nurse practitioner. I grew up right next door in Seagard and Manasquan, and then my family and I settled here in Brick because we were looking for a good place to raise a family. My 2 boys who were here before, Will and Bruce, both attend Brick schools. My eldest is in Cub Scouts Pack 47. We just love Brick's sense of community. We enjoy going to Windward Beach and doing Summerfest, the farmers market. Then we also enjoy taking the boys to the Herbertsville Park over there. I like working with people. I like helping people. That's why I became a nurse, and that's also why I wanted to serve on Brick Council. So my goals as councilwoman are simple. I want to work with Mayor Crate and the rest and my fellow council members to make sure Brick continues to be a great place to live and raise a family. And that means keeping it affordable, maintaining our level of services, keeping our community safe, and taking care of our seniors. So again, I just wanted to thank everyone, Mayor Crate and the rest of council for this opportunity, and I look forward to working together in the months to come.
Thank you. Vice President Zaps.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to thank Dan, and Steve, and Rob for their budget presentations tonight. I also want to thank Mr. Penzella and Mr. Almeida for coming out and bringing their concerns about their community, and for those that are very, very local to that area. It's colloquially referred to as Snake Road, and I really did not have any appreciation for what that meant until I actually drove it, and it is literally a paved path through the marshlands. So there are a number of long-term things in the pipeline that will ultimately relieve some of the flooding, not just in Seawood Harbor, but in some of the areas of town. But the short-term solutions there are very challenging because, unlike other communities where we could put in flapper valves to deal with some of the flooding on a short-term basis, there's no drainage on Snake Road whatsoever. It is literally a pavement through the marshlands. So we're continuing to look for grant funding. to elevate the road. There's some challenges. It's not even a typical elevation because in a typical elevation, usually there's berms created on opposite sides of the road. We can't even do that there because we don't own the property. It's federal wetlands. But we are looking for creative solutions and grant funding, and we'll move that project as soon as we possibly can. And then finally, congratulations and welcome. Councilwoman Travers, look forward to working with you. I too, I'm quite a bit older. I grew up in Wall and came over the bridge to buy a house and raise my family, and that was more than 30 years ago, and we've never looked back. So welcome, and look forward to working with you. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just want to echo the sentiments of thanking Mayor Crate, Mrs. Bergen, and Maureen Laffey-Berger, our CFO, for working so hard and diligent on this budget. We know it was not easy. I always go into Mo's office every year and I tease her and I'm like, 0% increase, right, Mo? And she's like, ha, ha, ha. But she made it happen this year, and I am eternally grateful for what we are able to do for our residents, especially in this time when inflation prices, we just see everything just keep going up, up, and up. Councilwoman Travers, welcome. I think that you're going to add a lot of wealth and depth to our team, so we look forward to working with you. And our next scheduled council meeting will be held on April 11th at 7 p.m. in this room. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.